Everyone, and welcome to Doodle Therapy, a drawing show here on Adobe Live where our goal is to come together to doodle and chill. It's great to be back here for day 2 and to see some familiar faces in the chat. My name is Alice. I am a muralist and artist based in the SF Bay Area, currently in Taipei, Taiwan. And it's a special stream this week because this week is our stream's birthday. We are turning 1 with Doodle Therapy. Almost a year ago, we had our very first stream, so I can't believe that it's been a full year of Doodle Therapy. We've had over 20 different streams, 20 guests, and it's just been a lot of fun connecting with this community. So we'll be getting to the birthday celebration soon. But if you're joining us live, welcome. If you are a familiar face, welcome to the chat. Please feel free to introduce yourself, say your name, where you're joining us from. I see some people are saying that it's Friday where they're at. So let us know where you're joining us from. And our random question of the day today is, what's a TV show that you've been enjoying lately? And if you don't watch TV, then you can name like another serialized piece of media, whether it's like a podcast or anime or a manga. So yeah, and if you are new to Doodle Therapy, the way that the show works is we're on every other week here on Adobe Live, and we bring on a special guest artist every week. And we try to learn from them, we chat with them, we get inspired by them. And so this week, our special guest is the one and only Coco Glez. Welcome, Coco.
Hello, Alice. Thank you. And thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And every week we also have a special doodle theme that is related to the guest artist's area of expertise. So in the past, we've done comics with Deb Lee and children's book illustrations with Anusha Sayed. And so this week we are doing magic. We are creating magical illustrations with Coco. And if you aren't familiar with Coco's work yet, I think most of you probably are because we checked out her work yesterday as well. You will soon see why her work is so magical and surreal, and we are going to be creating illustrations in that vein. Hi to everyone who's joining us live. Welcome in to Celine, Jessica, Megan, Alexander, Greg, Chris Olson, Maison. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. Celine, I think has been in New Zealand and says that their favorite show is Have You Been Paying Attention? It's a news show. Francois, Tara, Alexander says he's in Miami, Orlando. Hello, Yvonne. So yeah, it's great to have you on. And so we're gonna introduce Coco right now. I've got some of Coco's beautiful work here on the screen. Coco, do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself? Who you are, what you're about.
Yeah. So I'm an illustrator from Andalusia in the south of Spain, and I specialize in watercolor. I really like to recreate daily situations with a dash of magic because it's something that has fascinated me since I was a child, with the mangas I was reading, the animes that I watched. I really love the mix. Like Ghibli is a great inspiration for me because of that, because how they make the mundane look so magical and surreal sometimes.
Yeah. What's your favorite Ghibli movie?
To me, Kiki the Witch has a special place in my heart.
Oh,
but
awesome.
Whisper of the Heart is like top. It shares the top. They're very different, but I love them.
Yeah, that's actually a good question to ask the chat. What is your favorite Studio Ghibli movie? Let us know.
As for TV shows lately, I've been watching some Terrace House with friends. I found it really relaxing. It's really nice.
Yeah,
That's a
Terrace
really
House
nice
is so
vibe.
cool. Our next guest was actually on Terrace House, the who will be on
What?
in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's so exciting.
Oh my
She's
gosh, is
she's an
that the
incredible artist and muralist. Um,
really? Oh my
yeah, so
gosh.
you've been
I
watching
can
Terrace House. Ooh, we're seeing in the chat, Katarina says Howl's Moving Castle is their favorite. Yes, that's a great movie. It's so just
hmm.
all the details, are just so
Yes.
delightful. Like in the movie Howl's Moving Castle, the main character, I believe Howl, he's making food and then he like feeds the scraps or something to the fire. Like
Yeah.
he cracks an egg and then he feeds the shell to the fire, and then the
Mhm.
fire gobbles it up and gets bigger. Just little things
Yeah.
like that are so cute.
Yeah. I just love personification of inanimate objects or elements like water or fire or a flower. I love drawing little faces on every character that I can.
Yeah, yeah. Jessica says their favorite is Spirited Away, another classic.
Oh, that's another favorite. I love it.
Yes.
The food.
So,
There is so much
yeah.
food.
And I think all of this, relates really well to our theme, which is creating magical illustrations, celebrating magic. If you take a look at Coco's work, I think it's very, clear what we mean by that. Like it's creating some surreal, whimsical, imaginative elements that bring to life perhaps objects that aren't normally brought to life, like in real life. And yeah, that's our prompt for the day. So if you are joining us live, we totally invite you to draw along with us and create some magical illustrations in your own way. So that could be creating something that's a little bit surreal, a little bit unusual. And if you end up creating a doodle submission and you want to share it with us, it would totally make my day. I love seeing these doodle submissions, and we'll share some of our community submissions in just a second. You can share it with me at by Alice Lee on the internets like Twitter, Instagram, Behance, etc. And also, you can also tag Coco, and Coco's username is Coco__Glez. So let us know if you end up doodling along. You are totally invited to, because we want this to be a really interactive show. And at any point during our stream, if you have questions about what we're drawing, the process that we're taking, like Coco has been using some really cool watercolor brushes, feel free to ask away in the chat. We are open books here. So we're gonna just switch over to the drawing board side. Coco, do you mind, sharing a little bit with us about where you're at in the drawing at this point? How do you think about what the next steps are? What are you excited about? It looks like you've gotten really far, so I'm really excited to see.
I don't know if I'll be able to finish it today, because usually when I'm working with watercolor, painting can take me between 4 or 10 hours. And with digital, it's
Oh, wow.
faster. But because I like to recreate textures, sometimes I lose myself in the details. So not sure yet. This is actually a revisit of a concept that I did a few years back. It was a witchy scientist who is using like laboratory equipment to create her recipes. I really love the idea of merging both worlds because I have a background in science. So I try to incorporate these little Easter eggs whenever I can. And I also like to draw very angry cats. I like to give them a personality. So
Grumpy
yeah,
cat.
that's what my sketch was like. And for the process, what I did was first, I did a very detailed sketch of what I wanted to make, which is here. I just brought the opacity a bit higher, so you can see that I did my sketch as detailed as possible with the shapes that I want to outline later. Then I did a color test underneath and set the sketch layer to multiply on top of the colors, and I lowered the opacity, so now I can just do my line art. I don't name my layers, and I don't think that Fresco offers a possibility, and I appreciate that because I don't name the layers.
I think you can
You
name your
name your
layers,
layers.
actually.
Can you?
But I also agree that life is too short sometimes to name your layers. So if you have to be really organized and share your file with someone else, like I think it's nice to name your layers. But if it's just you, it's like I know what everything is. Well, I was actually going to ask you, you know, in your like the way you organize your file, are you drawing everything on one layer? Do you have it like separated out by like element, or do you have like the line art and then everything else?
Usually when I work digitally, I tend to either color everything on the same layer
Mm-hmm.
or merge them as I go. So I might start two elements that are far apart. I might do them on the same layer because that
Oh,
way I don't
okay.
have to search too far to find an element. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would recommend other people to name their layers and stay tidy, even if
Yeah.
I don't personally.
Uriel in the chat says, if you have 5 or 6 layers, it's fine. If you have 116 layers, that's a different story.
Oh,
Very true. You got to start grouping because other at that point, because
oh yes,
it's
yes.
a little too chaotic. And thanks to Jessica for saying they're looking good. And Jessica likes the
Oh, thank you.
apple beret details. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and welcome into Ellie versus Bear, as well as Momo, David Wood. It's great to see you all. Thanks for joining us. And so, Coco, you're saying that now at this point you are starting to work on the line work, so you've gotten more of like the colors down already for the background, and so you're just refining the line work.
Yeah, after I'm done with the line work, I will refine the color because right now it's just a test. So a lot can change between this and the final. But I think I like the way that the watercolor bled. Like it reminds me of when you're painting and you forget that you just painted on that area. So you just go with another color and it bleeds right back into it. But in digital, it looks a lot fancier. So it's a really nice discovery.
I also like in fresco, when you use the watercolor brush, they have a cool animation where the watercolor like spreads and it like mixes, which I always find really fun. I feel like a scientist or something when I using that brush.
Yeah, it feels really, I think it's really accurate, like the way I hadn't seen that on Photoshop before. So
yeah,
I'm really liking this app.
A related question is, let's say, like if you have to change something and everything's merged on the same layer, do you just end up redrawing it?
Oh, yeah, sometimes I just make a new layer on top, maybe.
Oh, I see.
Like because I have two ways of working digitally. Sometimes I do a lineless style, which I've been doing lately for my sticker sheets from my store.
Oh, okay, cool.
Sometimes I do a line art and, you know, I try to keep the compartments separate. But yes, if I have to redraw a part of it, I will just hide the color layers, make up my mind and redraw the part that needs to be redrawn. And then I will just turn the color layer back on and color whatever needs to be colored. Like I don't mind taking the extra step because anyway, it's a lot more, it's faster than traditional work and you can fix mistakes. So I'm not going to complain.
Right. Yeah. I think for me, I like almost never merge my layers because I'm afraid that I have to fix something that could be easier if I just kept it on separate layers, like if I have to make it lighter. And I feel like I'm a very easily like demotivated type of artist. Like if I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to change, like for your drawing, let's say I was like, oh, I want to change the jacket from yellow to blue or something. And then I'd be like, oh, I have to redraw the jacket. I'm lazy. I'm just gonna stop then. Like I literally like will just give up. So like if it seems like too much work sometimes, like I'll just be like, oh my gosh, okay, I can't buy. So yeah, that's why I keep it on separate layers, because I just know that I'll like get annoyed and then get frustrated and then just like stop. So yes, Uriel makes a funny joke, which is like, where are the eyebrows? I know it's layer 80. Very true. I end up just
You
clicking
know
a
it
lot
by
on.
memory.
Yeah, you know it by memory. And then when you open the file like a month later, you're like, what the heck is going on? Greg says that they
Oh.
name folders, not layers, so they can merge each folder down and then it looks like they're organized. Ellie says that they use very few layers. They like to merge all the time, except for the adjustment layers. That
Oh
makes
yeah,
sense
I keep
too.
lots of those. Instead of merging them, when I'm using adjustment layers on like scanned works or in an illustration that when I transfer it to the computer, like if the profiles don't match and everything looks a little bit greenish, so I always have to do some adjustments.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so in that case, what I do is I merge them all on a new layer. That I discovered that command like relatively recent. I think it's Option Command caps and E, and it
Oh,
creates a
wow.
new layer that contains everything that is like what you
Oh,
see. It's like a snapshot of what you see. So I did use that a lot. It
that's
was
so
such a
clever.
discovery.
So
Yeah,
that's
it's super good.
so you're merging all the layers onto a new layer.
Exactly. That is great to continue adding adjustment layers on top of that. It never ends. There's
I want to
always like the
see
last.
how I can do that. So is that this one? Copy merged? No, that's not it.
I think it's
Merge to
cap Option Command E.
I did also I customized my shortcuts a lot, so it's possible that I like
Ah,
stole that shortcut and made it something else, and so now it doesn't work for. Oh, Chris Olson says that they do that as well. Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, I also feel like for client projects, sometimes I like to keep the layers more separate, and then if it's like a personal project, I'll just be like, merge it more freely, because if a client is like, oh, I like your cat, but can we make it like green or something, then it's more easy to just change it, uh, and it's a little bit less work. Although your
oh
files
yeah.
end up being really big, so
Yeah, there must be a balance. It's a tricky
yeah.
balance.
Yeah, I love how you did the glass as well on the
Erlenmeyer.
beaker. Yeah,
I
on
don't
the
know. I don't know if the
whatever
name in
what
English
this.
is the same.
Yeah,
Call him
and so
Erlenmeyer.
I also want to make a quick take a quick little look at our birthday celebrations. So Doodle Therapy is celebrating our 1 year birthday this week. We've been on stream here on Adobe Live for the past year. I can't believe that it's been a full year. I didn't think that we would be doing it for this long. But it's been an amazing, year of learning new things, chatting with really inspiring artists, connecting with so many people in the community. And when I say that I didn't think that we'd be doing it this long, I just mean it in the sense that I never thought the pandemic would be this long. Not that I don't like Doodle Therapy. Of course I love Doodle Therapy. So I wanted to celebrate by pulling some of the highlights from our community submissions that we've had for the last year. There are so many amazing submissions, and I tried to choose about one or two from every week. Otherwise, it would be a super, super long, folder of submissions. But these are some of the submissions that we've seen over the last years, like when we did animal drawings, our favorite, childhood snacks. This is one that Anne did, Anne Alonso, who was an artist on our stream, I think a couple weeks ago, which is also how I got connected to Coco, because Coco was a part of the chat.
Yeah.
And yeah, so thanks for joining, Coco. Now you're on the stream. Isn't it so cool?
Thank you for having
The internet.
me.
The internet is amazing.
Oh yeah.
These keyboards are from when we did keycaps design with Susan Lin, aka Mint. This is Deb Lee's comic that she did. We've just got a lot of really colorful works. These are from I think these are from the first the very first stream that we did. So thanks to everyone who joined for that first stream. I was really, really nervous. And yeah, and I also, have pulled up the full schedule of previous guests that we've had on the stream, as well as the themes that we've covered, all the way from, playing with color to keycap design, stickers, data art, landscapes. Like, I feel like we've covered a really big range of topics here, and it's almost like a mini illustration boot camp if you watched all of these streams. So thanks to all the guests who have taken the time to come on, and thanks to Adobe for supporting me bringing these awesome guests on. It's so cool to get to learn from these artists. And if you would like, all of these past streams can be found on my website, byalislee.com/doodle-therapy. I'm still in the process of updating it with the most latest streams, but it should be all there by the weekend. So that just makes it a little bit easier rather than searching in YouTube. And you can kind of, watch them all at once. I like binging my shows. So yeah, and so thanks to everyone for joining. Thanks to the community for tuning in, whether this is your first time joining this stream today or if you have watched regularly and submitted doodles. You are all appreciated and welcomed, and it's been really cool to connect with folks in the community. We also have a Discord. You can check us out at creativecuties.net, and we're in the Doodle channel. So it's a really nice place to connect with community when the stream's not on and meet new friends. And thanks to Adobe, as well as our wonderful moderator, Sam Peterson, who is always in the chat with a friendly face and helpful tips. And also thanks to our studio tech, Jeffrey, my boyfriend, who is the one who runs the tech behind the scenes, so I can focus on hosting. Otherwise, I'd be like super frantic the whole time, and I don't even know if it'd be possible. So yeah, thanks again to everyone. I'm gonna get a little sappy, but I'm celebrating with another egg tart. So that is my version of a birthday cake. And yeah, anyway, it's been a pleasure. Like I said.
So happy to be here for the
happy birthday, Doodle Therapy.
I have to catch up with other episodes because I only it was around Anne's stream that I found out.
Oh yeah,
Doodle Therapy, and I also just love drawing with streams on the background. It activates my creative. So yeah, everybody just binge the episodes. Let's do it.
And it's also really early for you, right? Like, isn't it almost midnight for you in Spain when we're on live at 3?
Yeah.
Chris Olson says to merge all the layers and flatten the image onto a single layer, press Shift Command E, which is for Mac, or Shift Control E, which is for Windows. Okay, so I'm going to try to merge this these two stars.
Yeah.
So Shift Command E. Oh, wow. Okay, it merged it all together. Dang. All right.
Yay. I love how smooth the lines are looking now. I know that you will probably get rid of the line art, but the looks so flowy. The little.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Has so much energy. I love it.
Yeah, I like to put little bits of line art in sometimes, like this sort of accent, or if there's two places that are low contrast, I'll put a piece of line in there to separate it. Let's see. Jessica has a question, which is what brush or brushes are you using for your drawings, and what brushes are your favorites? That's a great question. I think I'll let Coco answer first, because you're using some really cool watercolor brushes, or actually right now you're using a
right now I'm using, because my interface is in Spanish, but I always go for pencil, organic type of brushes for line art. I really tried. I mean, I've been trying to draw digitally, sorry, since about 15 years. I don't know. Time flies by. I've been trying
15
to draw
years.
digitally so long. But there was a lot of time in my life where I wasn't drawing at all. And I just gave up because I couldn't I couldn't get along with the tools. I tried doing very smooth line arts because back in the day in DeviantArt, like I followed a lot of people who did like very precise, very smooth line arts. And I gave up trying to draw because I could not have the precision. I didn't have a lot of luck with digital art. So yeah, I discovered a couple years ago that I really loved using organic textures in digital art. And since I got the iPad and I was able to just, because to me, the more steps that you have to take to just start drawing, the chances are I will just, like, you know, when there's a lot of steps into doing something, it can be discouraging. So I'd rather just take a pencil and draw on my sketchbook rather than plug the Wacom and set up the computer. It's too much. And when I discovered the iPad, that changed everything. Like,
I was gonna say that. That's why I like the iPad. It's so easy. You could just pick it up, you know, and sit on the couch or something, or even go to the park or something. Yeah, you know, I was gonna ask, related to what you're saying, what was your first digital drawing setup? Like, did you use a tablet? And like, what was that tablet? Did you use Photoshop?
Do you mean like the very, very first?
Yeah, like when you were, because I'm so interested because, oops, I drew this on the wrong layer. Because I'm trying to think about like the tools that I used to use. And I think when I was like, 10, 15 years ago, the maximum amount that I knew about digital painting was like Microsoft Paint. Like I didn't even know, you know what I mean? Like I didn't even have that vocabulary. So I'm curious, what were the tools that you used? Because I think you must have been an earlier adopter of these technologies. I mean, compared to like the average population, you know?
Yeah, I was around DeviantArt in 2007, 2008. I think that was when I was doing digital for the first time. And my first drawings were with a mouse, because I had nothing else. And a couple Christmas later, I got like my first Wacom. I remember it was Wacom 4 Graphire. Wacom Graphire. Graphier? Okay. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Was that the kind where... Oh, sorry.
It had like a layer of like a crystal on top, like a plastic material on top. I don't know, it was very weird. But that was when I started using like a digitizing pencil and watching in the screen, where what I was doing with a tablet, that has a learning curve. But today, like in today's world, I actually prefer using the Wacom Intuos over the Cintiq.
Oh, okay.
For some reason, I got used to that.
Yeah, interesting. And so for those who aren't familiar, the Intuos, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the kind where you're like drawing on a tablet and you're looking at the computer screen, which is separate from the tablet. And then the Cintiq is when you're drawing on the screen and then the screen has your drawing, like you're just looking at it and drawing. So I always, I think also I was intimidated by digital illustration because the Intuos setup where you're drawing over here and then you're looking at the screen, it always felt really unusual to me, you know, because we're so used to drawing like this, right? So I just never got into it. And then I think I only got really into digital illustration when I was able to use a Cintiq at my job, which is why I started pretty late, like when I was like 21. So yeah, that's so interesting. And so when you started out, like, how did you kind of find your bearings? Like, how did you know what tool to use and to find this community? Were you able to connect with people online? Did you have friends who were also into digital illustration? Like, how did you get into this world
actually
earlier
I think,
on, I guess?
Greg, who is in the chat, was one of my earliest illustration friends. And after all these years, I actually, he's also, right now he's drawing background art, and he's like super insanely talented person who does the craziest techniques for getting those backgrounds painted. I'm super impressed anytime I see his work. And it's crazy to think that so many years ago, where we were all kids trying to learn how to draw without computer. It was completely revolutionary. I remember DeviantArt tutorials for everything. It was just such an adventure to connect with people from all over the world, because I was the artsy kid in school, but I didn't have many friends who draw as well, because most kids who draw, like eventually they just stopped, but I wanted to continue drawing. And online, I found a community of friends that also like to draw and share those drawings online. The drawings are long gone. I mean, I still keep them. Maybe someday I will just share them for the nostalgia.
you should put them in a book, and then you can have your earliest works and then all the way to present day. And I think that's so cool. That would be so cool to see.
I don't know. Maybe someday. Yeah.
Coco's book, Coco's art book,
that
art
would
of
be
Coco.
Amazing.
That'd be so cool. Yeah, I would personally love to see it. Like, I think it's so inspiring to look at people's like progression over time. It's kind of like what we were talking about yesterday of when you put time into a drawing, like you inevitably improve. Even if you're already like really good, like you'll get like even better. It's just kind of like a law of physics when it comes to drawing. I feel it's like drawing plus time plus effort equals like increased ability. So yeah, I think it'd be really cool to see. And also Greg, who you're referencing in the chat, says that they had the Graphire 4 as well, and he gives a wave emoji.
So you still use it?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Well, I think that I use I prefer the tablets when I'm working on the computer, because otherwise it doesn't come naturally to me to use the keyboard for shortcuts. So I think that is why when I'm working in a computer, like on Photoshop on the computer, I prefer the tablet, because there is no, the screen doesn't get in the way for the shortcuts. And with iPad, I just got used to using like the double tap to undo and the, zooming in and everything. But I've been told very recently that if you link a keyboard to the iPad, you can use shortcuts too. I have no idea.
I do that all the time. I'll put my keyboard in front of my iPad, and if you press like E, it's like eraser, like B, it's like brush. And R for rotate. I mean, those are the main keys that I like to use. Yeah, it's so magical, right? Yeah. You could like even bring if you go to a cafe or, park or something, you could bring your iPad and then bring your keyboard. So yeah.
We need macro keys.
Yes, you need just a little keyboard, right? The little, the little 9-letter keyboard. I'm probably butchering that a little bit, but Susan Lin, who just joined in our chat, is a keyboard expert, so she probably knows. Oh. Yes. That's a really amazing journey that you're describing of getting into drawing and like the online community, really earlier on, like 15 years ago. And it's so cool to hear about it. So thank you for sharing.
Oh. Well, I just wish that I had kept on drawing, but instead what I did was just disappear from the art community online, because I don't know, as I told yesterday, I went on to study down the science path, and it was actually because when I graduated, I was thinking of taking some time to dedicate to hobbies and like a few months that I wanted to figure out before taking on any jobs or anything. And it was during that time that I decided, because I had a part-time job, so I decided to get a Cintiq tablet actually to reconnect with digital art. I thought that, at the time I hadn't drawn in years, so I was really rusty, and I had I sometimes I drew with graphite, like tried to do realistic portraits and stuff like that, but it didn't go really well. So I went, why don't I get a Cintiq and I go back to my old manga drawing days?
Okay.
And that was when I reconnected with Greg from the chat. He
Oh,
was actually working as an illustrator, and it wasn't difficult for me to find his like, new profiles for illustration. And we hadn't spoken in many years because we used to hang out in our communities, and I was long ago disconnected from that. And that is how I got the idea to start an Instagram account, like to start social media after like many years not knowing anything about how this.
oh,
This has been just one discovery after another. I cannot explain how crazy it is to me that after so many years, I'm on the internet sharing art with people and getting to sell my illustrations, sell my ideas in the form of merchandise to other people from all parts of the world. Like to me, it's a very difficult to grasp concept after everything that has happened.
yeah,
But
the
I'm
internet.
embracing every moment of it. I'm just enjoying how incredible it is that all of this is happening, and I just want to work very hard to just get better and better and make up for the lost time, which I feel many times that is it kind of happened in my journey.
Yeah, I feel like that's super relatable. Like I've definitely had years that have been so productive and then years where I like, just chilled more or I had to, focus on other things. And yeah, I think that's really relatable. It's like all on your own pace. I'm really curious, as someone who has a really active social media presence, how do you balance that act of like making work for yourself with the act of like sharing, a lot, especially to a larger audience? Like we've talked a little bit about social media balance and how you maintain that, I guess, with your art practice. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts because it's something that I have thought about a lot as someone who's also on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, especially during the pandemic, I've been experimenting a lot with that
Mm-hmm.
because I thought, okay, so it's okay if I take it a little slower now. I mean, social media is another job. It becomes a job to show up every day or every number of days and post
Yeah.
things. It and you have to pay attention to it because if you are not in the app enough, the algorithms, we know them, we're familiar with them. So to me, at some point while I was, because after I reconnected with the world of illustration, I started studying art for 2 years. I went to an art school to get some technical formation because I didn't know how to draw at all. Like, yeah, I knew my doodles from back when but even my doodles at this point in my life, they were so much worse from my teenage years doodles
Oh,
because
okay.
I lost the practice. So I decided to
Oh.
take the chance to go to this. It's a public school in my area, so I didn't have to pay anything. Thankfully, we had a great quality with the teachers and the materials. There was very little time. That was the downside. Very little resources in the school and very little time for the teachers. You could
Okay.
tell that they were very stressed out. But
Oh, okay.
during this time was when I was starting to post on social media. I decided to share my journey. It was what I wanted to do, just document what my journey was looking like to the outside and just look back on it a few years later. I mean, at the time, I did not, I did not have a big social media account or anything like that. Like I just started a new username and started from scratch, sharing my journey. And at some point, there was a friend who told me that there was something called manga conventions. Like, and I
Okay.
was like, "What is that?" I knew manga conventions from back on my teenage years, but they were super small. Like it wasn't even a thing. An artist can go there. Like, what is that? So because of this friend from my school, I attended my first convention as an artist because I did some fan art, sent a little portfolio, and I had the luck of being chosen for the convention. So I was tabling
Oh,
there,
okay.
made like my first sales of fan art of I
Oh,
don't remember what, but it was just such a crazy world to me. But at the time, I had like 100 followers online, like friends, family, and anybody that I could network with from a little space on the internet. And it was after attending a convention that people from the convention would take like business cards home, and some of them followed me, and that's how
oh,
it started to grow. So yeah, from that point onwards, balancing my personal work with the work on social media. At first, it wasn't it wasn't as demanding because I think the algorithm was also a little more forgiving if you just disappear for a week.
oh, yeah.
uh, mm.
Interesting. Yeah.
But to me, all along, it still is sharing a journey. It's sharing what I'm doing. I mean, yeah, sometimes I stress out a little because if you're quiet on social media, and you're trying to, if you want to make a book, or if you want to do a project, you cannot just stay silent and disappear for a long time. You have to show up sometimes,
Yeah.
because if you are on social media advertising your store, your products, you cannot just go and disappear because people won't notice that you're putting out this content anymore. If you do a store update, you need to announce it on social media. So it's nice to keep people updated on the thing that you're working on. I also keep a Patreon community. Sometimes during the pandemic, I focused more because I wasn't drawing as much as, like, I didn't have the energy to do as much as I was doing before. But it was also part of that journey, what I was going through at the time, as well as many other people. So yeah, for me, there is a very important element of just sharing with other people what you're going through, what you're feeling, even if it's through text or if it's through image, through drawing, through illustrating a feeling. I think it's mostly about sharing that journey that I am having, and using social media to think on that and keep a journal that I can look back on. I don't want to look at my art of 2 years ago, but sometimes
I
I do,
see.
because I like to compare to myself how you were doing things, how you were drawing back then, and how are you today. It's good. It's a good exercise.
So I guess my like follow-up question is, how do you personally balance the, I guess, reality of social media being a business tool, and like if
I
you have
think
a
I
shop.
ramble too much.
Oh, no, no, no. Like if you have a shop, like you were saying, you gotta be active or something, if you want to promote it, or if you have a book project coming out, with the fact that your presence on social media started as a very like pure personal, journey. Like you started posting on social media to like document your work and just like connect with friends in the community. And so how do you personally balance that? Like I think this is a topic that, we've talked a bit about on Doodle Therapy, but I'm always curious about how people, individually have their own perspectives on this.
You mean how I balance my personal art and the art that I post to social media, or how I balance social media in general? Because
Yeah,
I
like,
got it.
and I'm also curious, if anyone's watching and has thoughts on this, feel free to share in the chat. But like the fact that social media is a really powerful tool. It's a really powerful tool for your business, and that's connected to like money, and your like livelihood, which is like important as like as an artist, right? Or it's just a part of like our art practice, and balancing that reality of like, yeah, I need to post actively, because like otherwise it could affect how my book sales do or how my shop does or something, with the fun of social media, the fact that like you're also just sharing to like connect to your friends and like, you know, have a place that you can look back on, and it also is just fun to share, you know, it's just fun to connect with people. So like how do you balance those two things, especially like I think because our you know, I think you and I both make art that's really personal to us, as opposed to creating art that's like designing a brand, you know, and being a brand designer, and that's a little bit more commercial. And so I think when your art is like more personal, it becomes a little bit trickier how to navigate these like business commercial sort of surfaces, or areas. And not to say that it's impossible, you just got to be conscious about it, and you know, and then it's fine if you got your perspective. But I'm just curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I know that during the pandemic, as I mentioned, there were some moments in which I wasn't feeling like drawing a lot because of everything. There were some moments in which I didn't feel like drawing because I was like, okay, I like to really portray really good vibes with my art, because it makes me feel better. And I like the thought that, you know, when some people tell me your art got me through a dark moment, your art got me through a very rough morning that I had, or your art just made me smile, that thing just fills my heart with happiness. It's the reason why I choose to make art. And well, I also make art because I realize I cannot help it, but that is the thing that keeps the flame alive, like knowing that I can share it with people. I never realized that it was such an important part of my art experience. I mean, I guess that back when I was a kid on DeviantArt, there was this component, but at the time my art didn't have the potential to reach people because of, I don't know, maybe it was technical difficulty, or I just was too young to portray the things that I'm trying to portray now. And when it comes to keeping a balance, I try to stay away from analytics and numbers as much as I can.
Ooh, that's a great,
those stress me out so much. To think that I've put so many hours in a drawing, and to think that experience, the learning experience, could be tainted by deeming the drawing less worthy because it didn't get shown to more people. Like, that breaks my heart, that it has the potential to happen, because the way social media is designed, we get lots of feelings from using these apps. When we see a notification, it gives us a rush of belonging to a community. It gives us so many feelings, but I try to just, you know, leave the tools in the toolbox. My relationship with social media tends to be rather emotional. Like I try to be sincere in my comments. I try to be sincere in building community with other people. When I need to step out because I feel overwhelmed, I close the apps. I don't look at them. I try to give myself a moment of space. And I think that is the only way to balance. Yeah, there is sometimes, especially I experienced this last year because it was the first time that I experienced like a serious art block. I felt like I was disappearing from the internet because I didn't have much to share, in the sense that I didn't feel like putting the feelings of frustration, of you know, the isolation, the stress. I didn't feel like putting that into paper just because it doesn't help me. It doesn't, I mean, for some people, it's an amazing tool to be able to bend feelings through art. But to me, it doesn't work.
It's just not your preference. Like, it's just not what the vibe that you want to go for. And I think that's totally cool. Like, it's, you know, I think some people can harness that frustration and like express it in their work. And then like I'm similar. Yeah, I don't want to make work that yeah, I like certain vibes too. So like, I think that's totally valid, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I know people who have told me why, because I have friends who bend through art when they feel
Yeah.
sad, when they feel frustrated, when they feel angry. They make this into art, and they do this in such tasteful way that I'm like, go for it, because
Yeah.
I mean, some people are going to relate to this, and you're going to help them express these feelings.
Yeah.
But I have tried, I've tried, and it just doesn't help me, and it shows that it doesn't help me. Like, it shows that to me, it's not a second nature. So it's okay, I accept it. But there is also the moment in which I don't feel like drawing something happy, so I just don't draw, and it's okay.
Yeah.
To me,
I,
sometimes it's okay to take a break.
yeah. The way that I've thought about it is, I think I can be a very emo person. Like I've said it, like I'm an emo girl who makes like happy art because I'm like working through my feelings, but and like trying to cheer myself up sometimes by like making art that's like hopeful and optimistic. And that's how I process when I'm feeling frustrated or sad, you know? So shout out to all the emo girls making cute art. And that's just how I've, you know, say it. But I don't feel like my art is necessarily like very emo. But it
I
comes,
think it
comes
has
from an
very
emo
peaceful
place.
vibes. I think your
Yeah,
art
and
has
that's
super wholesome
part
vibes.
of the like way that I try to process it myself and try to like make myself feel better sometimes, you know, and then it works, and so that I think more, and then it's a cycle. So yeah, I think it's just whatever works for you. And I also just want to say, you know, it's been so cool to watch you you know, share your process. Do you mind maybe like zooming out, since we've got
Yeah.
about 5 minutes left on our stream? I think it'd be cool to look at our pieces like side by side and see our magical girls, you know, painting or doing, or mine is pouring a tea, and yours is doing an experiment. I'm getting some questions in the chat what brush I'm using. I am using a brush that I renamed a long time ago to be called Lovely Brushy Brush. So I'm sorry that's not more helpful, but I believe it is some kind of pastel brush. And I have the flow on pretty low to 30%. So I get some, you know, this nice texture versus if I had it to 100%, it'd be more clear. So I hope that's helpful. Sorry, it's a little rushed at the end. But Coco, it's been so cool to watch your process and to see how you've gone about with the original sketch from day one, which you guys can check out if you want to see, you know, her full process of painting the background. And then today you did the line work, which we can see in black on as the first top layer. Yeah, thank you. Do you think that, I mean, if people want to see if you ever end up finishing this piece, do you think that you would end up sharing it on the internets?
Yeah, I would like to, and I would like to see your piece finished too.
Oh, thanks.
I was supposed
yeah.
to ask you. So, I will finish this for you guys. I will. I will.
That leads me to my
fun.
Yeah, that leads me to my next point, which is if you want to, you know, see how Coco's piece turns out. So a little bit of suspense here. And also if you just want to follow Coco in general, you should check her out. She's at Coco __ Glez, and her URL, I mean, her handle is above her avatar over there. And that's her URL or her handle on Instagram and Twitter. And also, you know, I might finish my piece too, and you can also share your magic doodle submissions if you'd like. To me, I'm at by Alice Lee on the internets, Instagram, Twitter, Behance, and I would really love to see. I love seeing everyone's awesome works. Thank you to Jeffrey, who just posted a helpful link in the chat to Kyle's brush pack. A really easy way to get to that is go to this hamburger menu in brushes and hit get more brushes, and you'll end up straight at that link. So yeah, you know, this has been a really lovely 2-day stream. Thank you for joining us for our birthday streams. Thanks for being a part of Doodle Therapy's first year, and for joining us in on this, you know, first anniversary stream. Thanks as well to Coco for joining us, for showing us some of your magical illustrations and perspectives and tips. It's been so cool to chat with you, Coco.
Thank you so much, Alice, for inviting me here and for everybody being so lovely in the chat, even though I couldn't read you, but Alice was letting me know what you guys were up to. Thank you so much, guys, for joining, and happy birthday to Doodle Therapy.
Happy birthday, Doodle Therapy. Have a great day to everyone. And see you in 2 weeks as our next guest will be Frankie Sihi on May 5th to 6th, 3 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be doing patterns. So yeah, have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.